Hey everyone, today we're going to unlock the stories that are hiding inside of data. I know, charts and graphs can seem a little intimidating at first, but I promise, by the end of this, you'll know exactly how to look at any chart and understand what it's telling you.
You know that feeling, right? A screen just fills up with bars and lines and numbers, and your brain kind of goes blank. Well, I'm here to tell you that data isn't scary. You just have to think of it like a storybook. Every single chart is telling a story, and today we're going to learn how to read it.
So where do we start with any story? At the very beginning, of course. And with the chart, that means the title. It's the first and, honestly, the most important step to figuring out what the data is all about. I just love this way of thinking about it. Seriously, before you look at a single bar or a single data point, find the title. It gives you the entire context in just a few words. It's your anchor. It's your starting point for everything else that's going to follow. All right, now that we know the title of our story, it's time to meet the main characters. And in the world of charts, our main characters are the axes. You know, the horizontal and vertical lines that frame the whole graph. For the rest of this little guide, we're going to use this simple bar chart as our example. It's tracking monthly coffee sales, and it's absolutely perfect for learning the basics, starting with that all-important title, and then those axes. See that title from our example, monthly coffee sales? That's our first huge clue. It tells us the topic of the story. Instantly, right away, we know we're not looking at website clicks or how much rain fell last year. This is so crucial because a vague or a misleading title can send you down a completely wrong path before you even get started. Now let's look at that vertical line, the y-axis. The label here says cups sold. This tells us the what of the story. What exactly are we measuring? The number of coffee cups. And the numbers alongside it give us the scale. Are we talking about 10 cups or 1,000? And then down at the bottom, we've got the horizontal x-axis. This usually tells you the when or the who. It represents the categories or the time period. So in our coffee chart example, the x-axis is showing us the specific months we're comparing: January, February, March, and April.
So you've got to remember this. Without clear labels on both the x and the y-axes, a chart is just, well, it's a bunch of meaningless shapes. The labels for cups sold and the months are what give those bars their meaning. A chart with no labels isn't just confusing, it's totally useless. So always check the axes.
Okay, now that we understand the layout, we've got the title, and we've met the characters, we can actually start reading the plot itself, and that means pulling out specific facts from the data. Let's just look at the numbers behind our chart for a second. You can find a specific fact just by picking a month, let's say March, and then looking across to find its value. And there it is, 450 cups sold. It's kind of like finding a specific sentence in a chapter of a book.
All right, your turn. Pop quiz. I want you to look at the chart or the table, whatever you prefer. Based on the data, which month had the highest sales? Go on, I'll give you a second.
You got it. It was April with 500 cups sold. And this just brilliantly shows the power of a visual chart. You probably didn't even need the table, did you? You could just look for the tallest bar. Our eyes are just naturally drawn to stuff like that.
Spotting individual facts is great, but the real power comes from seeing the overall story, the trend. Is the plot of our story going up, or is it going down? This is how we find the big picture.
Now, finding a trend sounds complex, but it's really just 3 simple steps. You look at where the story starts, you look at where it ends, and then you just describe the journey. It's really that easy.
So, let's apply this to our coffee chart. We start in January at 350 cups. We end in April at 500 cups. Well, the journey between those 2 points is a pretty clear climb. So the main plot of our story is that coffee sales are growing.
We've covered a lot of ground here, all the way from titles to trends. Now, let's put it all together into a simple, powerful toolkit that you can use anytime you come across a new chart. Here it is, your data toolkit. Think of it as a simple checklist. First, read the title to understand the topic. Next, check the axis to see what's being measured and when. Then, look at individual data points to find the key facts. And finally, zoom out to spot the overall trend, the main plot of the story. With these steps, you are ready to read any chart.
So the next time you see a chart, don't freeze. See it as an invitation. You have the tools now to read the story it's telling. The only real question left is, once you understand that story, what new questions will you ask?